Hi, my name is Andrew Anguiar, and this is my final project presentation for educational technology, and my project is on museum technology for December 10th, 2017. So some background and a project overview of my project on museum technology. Museums create educational programs in math, science, art, literacy, history, and other topics, and they're often tailored to the needs of state and local curriculum standards. This is why it's very important in education. They serve as a powerful education tool for diverse groups, and specifically people of groups K through 12. Data analytics and its use in museum operations is a topic that I would like to explore in my project and to see how that can improve museum operations. Learning analytics are digital tools which use rich data to provide insights into learning and suggested strategies for success. So integrating these learning analytics into the museum, I hope to see how can this improve the education for students in K through 12. The research question that I am asking with my project is, do data analytics in museum have the potential to enhance the learning experience of the visitors? Also, which specific tools and applications can be integrated within museums that collect as much useful information as possible? This information will be used for museum operations to improve the museum. Another question is, what software tools can keep students K through 12 age group engaged with the museum's exhibits, and how can this museum track this information that they receive from the engagements of the students to improve museum operations? So part of my research finding is I found that mobile technology, such as handheld devices, have benefits for students because each student can use their own device and they can also interact with the exhibits inside the museum. Museum mobile gaming have the potential to engage students with the exhibits found in the museum, while at the same time collecting useful data to improve museum operations. That's where learning analytics, which is applied to the student data, comes in. An essential part in utilizing mobile games within museum is a strong design to ensure that the game can be used as an effective educational tool. Based on conducted research, I came up with steps and created a design for a museum mobile game, and also steps for learning analytics too. And these steps that I found were based on the 10 steps to complex learning, a systematic approach to 4-component instructional design by Chris Skinner. So this is the plan for the museum mobile game design. Step 1 is designing the learning task. The first step would involve identifying whole learning tasks and organizing them into appropriate task classes. Organizing topics found in museum exhibits into smaller classes makes the material more digestible for students K through 12. Learning tasks should be clearly stated and understandable for the students. As a player completes each task, subsequent tasks should include the next most important concept that the student needs to learn. Step 2 is setting performance objectives. Performance objectives are important in determining when a student is ready to move on to the next new class. The mobile game should rely on information within the exhibit and make the students investigate the exhibit until information is obtained. Having performance criteria is important so that the student can reach a clear, defined performance objectives. Once a student has achieved performance objective, they are introduced to the next learning task class in the mobile game. Step 3 is designing procedural information. Once learning tasks are specified and performance objectives are defined, to advance through each other learning task, procedural design is the next step. This step involves creating instructions that the student can use to understand how to play the game and advance through all of the performance objectives. Procedural information should typically be provided at the moment the student begins playing the game, reducing the cognitive load of the student by not distracting them when they're attempting to complete the learning objectives. Step 4, analyzing cognitive rules. This step involves identifying and analyzing cognitive rules that are necessary to complete the learning task. The result of the analyst's cognitive rules provide a basis for designing procedural information. This analysis is important because the difficulty of the game needs to be age appropriate for children of age group K through 12. Step 5, analyzing prerequisite knowledge. This step involves identifying and analyzing the prerequisite knowledge needed to correctly use the cognitive rules. The curriculum of what the student needs to learn inside the class needs to be taken into consideration for each age group. This is necessary so that it can be ensured that the level of difficulty of the game is age appropriate. Now I'll discuss applying learning analytics to the mobile game data. Step 1, capture stage. The purpose of the stage is to source all of the raw data. Data about the students is captured when the student creates a profile. The data should also be captured whenever a student completes the mobile game. Step 2, the report stage. The purpose of the stage is to cleanse and impute the data. Data that has been collected from the students at the stage is now analyzed and transformed into meaningful data. Step 3, the predict stage. The purpose of the stage is to calculate transformations. The student data is used to make predictions through data analytics techniques. Step 4, the act stage. The purpose of the stage is to translate the data into a consumable form. The predictions that were calculated from the predict stage are now analyzed and interpreted in the context of the museum, exhibitations, and the museum technology. And step 5, the refine stage. The purpose of this stage is to implement some actions found in the act stage. In this stage, planning is done on how to make changes that improve the museum exhibits and the museum technology that fits within the budget of the museum. Once actions are found that fit inside the budget, changes are made by museum operations. After conducting research, I was able to formulate a survey that I did in the class, asking the class their opinion on museum technology and how effective they might think having educational programs within the museum that use technology. I also surveyed them on how technology affects their own life and learning. From what I was able to gather from these answers, technology is an integral part in the learning of majority of the students. It is essential to develop methods to use technology effective for education. Technology can also serve as a distraction when people are conducting independent research, like environments such as museums. So it's important that programs created for students K through 12 are made to keep the attention of the children and not serve as a distraction. The engagement level of the people varied, and the information that they were able to take away from museums exhibits also varied. The technology overall was able to supplement the learning process of the visitors. Also, the last takeaway is that people think that technology, such as mobile technology, can increase visitor engagement and might help their visitors retain more information during their visits.